Hey there, Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. My page is dedicated to you, Dad, to you, Mom, and you, Coach, that have to work with kids, young players, right? As an instructor, I take pride in fundamentals. I think it's really important. I don't think they're taught enough these days. And I think most people that work with kids and do YouTube videos and stuff, everybody has good intentions. But I take pride in the fact that I work with young players and I'm trying to teach them as they're learning the game, basic, simple habits, right, to get them inside of a window, if you will, so that as they grow and develop, right, they can develop bigger, stronger moves, they can develop more powerful moves. But what you see here is on the left is a young man that's in my the online academy, right? That was his evaluation swing, and they've been in the academy now for this is their fifth week. And his dad sent me this video in the middle, where he's at in the blue there, and this is what we're working on, challenging him with new habits, right? And he's got about 3 or 4 drills that we're working on week to week, and so they've been working really hard, and this is the result, right? And why I'm showing George Springer over on the right. When I did his evaluation, I showed him George Springer on the right, and I said, you know what, we're going to develop habits a lot like what Springer's doing here, and I explained some of the positions and so forth, and I think that it's very obvious that an 8-year-old little boy, right, is learning, while he doesn't look exactly like Springer, he's learning habits that are going to keep him in the game for a long time, and they're going to give him a great foundation for adding layers on top of this because he's learning really good lessons. So let's say that this young man didn't come to me and he went to go get lessons. Somebody might say, let's say it's a guy that talks about getting deep, right? He doesn't use video. It's just a guy that loves to say that. Major leaguers get deep and they swing up and so forth. Well, young players have no problem getting deep. I'm so frustrated by this whole movement because it's silly to me and it's obvious to guys that I talk to that work with kids and that actually it's their real job, right? They know, no, you can't tell young players to get deep, and this is why we're trying to challenge players, for instance. Now, I've never said this to this player. The drills kind of make this kind of happen automatically, but I like to talk to players about staying on top, right? And when we say that, some of you remember back to Josh Donaldson's video on MLB Central where he says, kids, if your coach tells you to stay on top, tell him no. Right? I get where he's coming from. He's saying, I guess at some point in his career, a coach was telling him to hit the top of the ball. I don't know, right? And if you believed that, then that's the joke is on you. It's not, right? Isn't that kind of a slap in the face to Josh Donaldson that he believed that hitting the top of the ball? I tell this 8-year-old right here, if I knew if this kid was in person and I looked right at him in the eye and I said, hey, I want you to hit the top of the ball, he'd look at me like I was nuts. So, but if I was charging him $110 an hour and I'm an ex-MLB minor leaguer, right, played double A, career 245 average, then they're going to listen. For whatever reason, guy says you need to hit the top of the ball, then, and so there are guys out there saying that. But young players, right, don't need to hear get deep. This is a movement that it's like the counter revolution to the guys that were saying to hit down on the ball. Now there's this other side of it. We're saying, no way, man, we're going to get deep and we're going to drop the barrel. It's just a really bad idea. And so there are players that need to get in the zone perhaps a little bit earlier. Maybe they come in a little steep. But really talking to young players about it is a complete waste of time, and because they do exactly what you see over here on the left. And so in the evaluation, I pointed out the resistance that this young man sets up. Now, it's kind of a smart move that young players make, and it's a little bit more natural than we think. Is that what they're doing? Is they're trying to get the barrel into a position where they can use their body as leverage to flip the bat. That's what the arm bar is for young players, is they're trying to get that extended so that they can whip it around their body faster. Well, you know what? Sometimes you can create a lot of bat speed like that, and so I think it's pretty creative for young players that come up with that on their own. But the reality is that's not how hitting works, right? And so just like any area in life, right? There's no natural thing to this, right? You've got to learn and develop. You don't have to go to a hitting instructor. You don't have to go to an online academy. But a lot of guys will do it the old-fashioned way, get out on a tee and work hard all their life and work harder than everybody else, and they're better than everybody else, right? But the reality is that if you go to a young man's piano recital for the first time. He's 7 years old and he's playing the piano. He's playing chopsticks. He's just learned. He's sitting there stiff as a board. The crowd is nervous because he's nervous, and there's just all kinds of weird stuff happening, right? What a weird illustration I'm making. But the but you got then you let's say you put a video next to him, and it's Jerry Lee Lewis playing Great Balls of Fire. His hair's flying all over the place. He's jumping all around, and we go, "Hey kiddo, why aren't you doing it like that?" And the reality is the reason why, and that's a ridiculous analogy, right? It's a ridiculous illustration, but for some reason in baseball, it's different. People are like, nah, we can still teach the Josh Donaldson swing, uh, albeit he's the best player in the universe. And when I say that, people will sometimes send me a 9-year-old doing a Josh Donaldson leg kick. I'm not saying kids don't. I teach a leg kick to young players that are ready for it. But when players are doing stuff like, and this is what the majority of young players are doing, like you see there on the left, it's the majority of young players have no idea how to get out of this zone, right? So they dump the barrel behind them and then they try to swing around the ball. And so what we work on at the online academy with young players is we're trying to get them working really short to the ball. Develop good habits, good sequence on how to get out of this zone, and you're going to stick around the game for a long time. This young man, maybe a year away from adding a big leg kick or something that maybe a bat waggle that gives him a little forward tilt on the barrel and then it comes back, whatever. Those advanced moves are, anybody can add those moves, but if you don't understand fundamentally how the barrel or how the swing is supposed to work, how your body can move more efficiently if we do it the right way, right? So the only difference you see here in the two swings is it looks like he's kind of pushing his hands a little bit here. And I would draw your attention to, let me move that guy, what young players, and you see over here on the left how his heel stays in the ground most of the swing, all of the swing actually, in his evaluation. And that's the same thing is happening. He's getting off of it a little sooner, but right when that front heel plants, if he pops that heel up a little quicker, just like you see Springer's getting off the heel, right? You're going to see the same pattern that you see here. That looks like he's kind of pulling the barrel from the backside, and this young man looks like he's kind of pushing it in front. It's just a little bit of a sequence problem. So not a big surprise for an 8-year-old to not have that sequence down perfectly, but we're starting to create the building blocks for giving a young player a chance to stick around in this game and not have to be so stinking frustrated. We're going to give him a good opportunity to hit bombs. We're going to give him a great opportunity to be a big player on the team instead of somebody that's always struggling, right? Do this for your player, right? Check out the online academy. It could be that your 8-year-old is just a few drills away, right, from feeling the right things. Don't worry about Josh Donaldson's swing right now, right? Your kid can still develop those patterns, but George Springer's not a bad player either. And by the way, not a lot of guys do what Josh Donaldson does, even in the major leagues. So that's pretty obvious. People that look at video, every now and then everybody does it the way Josh Donaldson. No, they don't. Not even close. But there are a lot of guys that fundamentally are just really sharp in the game, right? And they're going to make $20 million a year one day. So, teach your player good habits, right? And start now. And you're going to see that they're going to enjoy the game a lot more and all that good stuff. All right. Thanks for sitting with me and listening to me ramble. See you guys next time.